Sabadi, hello everyone. So again, welcome to our subject. And for today, we are about to continue our discussion about the completion of the accounting process, no? Focusing on the journalizing and posting of adjusting entries and closing entries, as well as preparation of post-closing trial balance. So this is your instructor, Noel Bergonia. So just sit back, relax, take down notes. And if you do have questions, just please let me know on our respective chat boxes, or you can comment via the comment portion of this video lecture. Okay, so I think we can now start. So before we proceed proper on the discussion of the journalizing and posting of adjusting entries and closing entries, no, let's just again have a short recall, no, about our discussion in the previous video lectures. So we have started with analyzing the business transaction. Then we will be journalizing and posting them to the ledger. Then we have prepared the trial balance. After that, if you have opted to prepare the worksheet, then you will prepare the worksheet. Then in our previous video lecture, now we have discussed the preparation of the financial statements, which as we all know, financial statements are general purpose reports that were being used, no, by the various or wide range of users, no, in making economic decisions. So after we have prepared the financial statements, no, based dito sa ating sequence in the accounting cycle being presented, no, we will be proceeding with the adjusting entries, but at this time, no, we will just formally record it and post it in our journal as well as ledger. Even though, kung naalala po ninyo, in module number 4, we have already formally started the discussion of adjusting entries, di ba? Doon na-discuss natin kung ano-ano po yung iba't ibang uri ng adjusting entries. At the same time, we have used that as well in completing our worksheet, di ba? Dito sa step number 4. So nung nag-worksheet tayo, we have also discussed the adjusting entries, but they need to be written sa worksheet pa. Okay, but at this time, no, formal journalizing na lang tayo at saka posting. Actually, it's the same lang with the process of journalizing and posting, a usual transaction, except for the fact that this is under the cluster of adjusting entry. Okay, so may madadagdag lang na other info or instructions how to properly write it in the journal and to post it in the ledger. Moreover, after that, now we will journalize and post the closing entries. And then step number 9 will be post-closing trial balance. So those 3 steps now will be discussed in this video lecture, because the last process, which is journalizing and posting the reversing entries, will be given to you in our next video lecture. Okay? Sige, so I think we can now start, no? Again, we are going to stick first dito sa ating sequence ng adjusting entries, no? Or I mean this accounting cycle na pinipresent ko, no? So we will proceed, okay, with what we have here in these steps. But later, after all of the discussion until steps number 9, no, I will just mention some changes about accounting cycle if you will not prepare the optional steps. Okay, so let's start with our journalizing and posting of adjusting entries. Okay, so if you have remembered, adjusting entries are those entries that were being prepared at the end of the accounting period, which are used to update or to adjust the balances of our accounts, diba? So we have discussed various adjusting entries such as accrued expenses, accrued revenues, depreciation, prepaid expenses, unearned income. And we have also the allowance for bad debts or doubtful accounts, diba? So yun yung mga diniscuss natin way back module number 4. Now, again, they are used to update the balances, and take note, ha, they should be dated as of the last day of the month, okay, that we are preparing. So do not forget na kung 30 yan, 30 yung last date, so that should be dated 30, 31, 31. Okay, so wag kakalimutan yan. And then, if you have forgotten this already, no, the adjusting entries should contain at least 1 real and 1 nominal account. So yung real account natin are the assets and liabilities, while nominal accounts represents your income and expense accounts naman po. Okay? Okay? So how do we do it? So 'di ba we have prepared a worksheet. Okay? At doon natin nilagay yung data for adjustments natin. So we have created no the column 3 and 4 in the worksheet as adjustments, where we have actually put the amounts on their corresponding account titles and then debit and credit. But take note class, no, hindi siya formally naka-journalize pa sa journal. So nilagay lang natin sa adjustments column, no, just to make sure that we will have the adjusted trial balance in the succeeding columns sa worksheet. Now, what you're going to do is, since meron nga tayong worksheet and it is used to facilitate as well the journalizing of adjusting entries. So ang gagawin nyo po is just to create no in the general journal no the proper entry related to those adjustments. Okay, so do not forget, no, just I have mentioned in module number 4 in our discussion for adjusting entry, how to properly write it, no? So before you start journalizing the adjusting entries, lagay po kayo ng word na adjusting entries doon sa ating description column or explanation column. This is just simply to denote na yung mga susunod na mga entries na laman ng journal natin is actually adjusting entries. And again, do not forget that since this is actually for the Butter Legal Services na worksheet, di ba? So the date natin was December 31. So ayun, year and month, bakit po? Kasi we have used another page. Pero kung ito po ay kasunod ng usual entries, no? So no need na maglagay ng year and month. Okay? So yung rule pa rin natin in journalizing will apply. Okay? So yun lang, nadagdag lang yung word na adjusting entries there. And then we transfer the adjusting entries dito po sa ating journal. Okay, so as you can see, no, we use the arrangement based on the data for adjustment ng Butter Legal Services. So nilagyan natin ng letter, di ba, yung ating adjustments once we do it in the worksheet last time. So what you're going to do is based on the arrangement, yun na lang din yung magiging arrangement natin sa general journal. Kaya kung mapapansin ninyo, yung letter A natin, there was a credit to office supplies and there was a debit to office supplies expense. So dating it December 31, 2020, so debit office supplies expense 5,500 and credit office supplies 5,500. So it's just like again the usual journalizing process and then ipopost natin. So if you have posted it already, ito na po yung PR. Kailangan malagyan nyo ng PR. So hindi ba double work yan? Actually nga, the worksheet is an optional step. No? So since we have made use of the worksheet to fast track the preparation of financial statement, so talagang medyo parang lalabas na naulit yung paggawa ng journal entry. Pero again, later on the end of this video lecture, I will be mentioning what if hindi tayo gumawa ng worksheet. So ano yung gagawin nating step? Okay? Pero ayun nga po, no, it just help us in the worksheet, no, the preparation of financial statements immediately. Kaya ngayon medyo nasa huling part or after ng preparation of financial statements, saka lang tayo nag-a-adjust formally sa journal. Okay? So same with the depreciation expense, di ba? Yun yung letter B natin. And then we have the letter C, depreciation expense ulit. Yung letter D ay about insurance expense. So kaya insurance expense, credit prepaid insurance. And then lastly, you have the salaries payable natin. So do not forget class that you can also rearrange the sequence. No? We are just using the concept na kung ano po yung nauna doon sa data for adjustments natin is yun po yung ating i-record ng sunod-sunod. Pero ito po, sa totoong buhay kasi, no, it's up to you on how you determine ano yung mga data for adjustments mo. No? Hindi talaga yung given. Sa school activities natin, of course given yan kasi you are not given the formal set of accounting record but if you will do it in the usual accounting process talaga, no, so hindi po ibibigay yan sa inyo, ikaw yung maghahanap. Hanapin mo, meron ba tayong use portion, may mga prepaid expenses ba tayo, may mga unearned revenues ba tayo, and the likes. Ikaw mismo maghahanap. So the sequencing of the adjusting entries may be different from what it would be pag tayo po ay nag-activity. Okay, pero at the end of the day, no, you should journalize it properly based on what we have discussed in module number 4, no, about the proper adjusting entries per type, no, nung ating mga adjusting data. Okay? So ayun. So after you have journalized it, no? So um we need to apply actually the rules in journalizing natin na pagka-journalize ng isang transaction, i-post dapat natin siya. Pero I cannot show it in this slide, no? Nasa susunod na slide. So let's say for example, okay, so na-journalize mo itong anong to, unang adjusting entry na to, 'di ba, about the office supplies. So i-post mo siya, hanapin mo yung office supplies expense. So i-debit mo siya, posting. Ngayon, ang mababago lang din sa posting natin class, as you have noticed in the module as well as here in my presentation today, sa items column natin, if this is related to an adjusting entry posting, maglalagay kayo sa items column ng adjusting. Okay? In some other cases, no, kung hindi kasya adjusting, I will upload as well the word ADJ. Okay, minsan ADJ din pinapalagay ko dyan. So bakit kailangan maglagay ng word na adjusting or ADJ? That is because no, we want also to denote in our ledger that that amount is related to an adjusting entry. Okay? So yun lang din naman yung isa sa pagbabago pag mayroong posting ng adjusting entries, no? Paglalagay ng ADJ or adjusting entries. Same pa rin, no? Yung PR will be the page number and then the amount kung nasaan siyang side in your journal. And do not forget guys, the date should be the last day of the month. So ito lang po yung nagbago, no? Adjusting. Okay, another example. By the way, pagkatapos mong i-post ito, no? Gagawin mo, babalik ka sa journal, ilalagay mo yung posting reference. Okay? Another would be office supplies. So ito for example, no, ano lang to, presumptive values lang to. Pero I just want to show you lang the adjusting entry. So as you can see, no, once we posted it, naka-credit yung office supplies. So dapat credited din siya dun sa posting. And then we have adjusting entry in the items column. Naaalala nyo pa ba kung ano yung nilagay natin sa items column before? Nalagyan na natin yan dati ng begbal. Yeah, in module 3, we have discussed that if you have beginning balance from the previous period, you can write begbal dyan sa items. Ano pa? Yung pencil footing, di ba? Ginamit natin yan for pencil footing. And another would be ito nga, adjusting. Okay? So, pwede nyo lagyan ng word na adjusting or ADJ if the posting is related to an adjusting entry. Okay? So yun lang naman yung pagbabago, no? So it's just the usual journalizing. You're just journalizing the adjusting entries as well as you posted it in the ledger, no, with the adjusting na items or explanation. Okay? So I hope na naintindihan niyo ako. I will not dwell more here since this is just similar lang dun sa mga previous discussions natin. Nag-addendum lang tayo para sa adjusting entries. Okay. So after ninyong by the way, no, baka may magtanong, sir, paano yan? Kung may pencil footing kami dati, tapos naglalagay kami ng adjusting entries, buburahin po ba namin yon? The answer is yes. No? Kaya nga siya naka-pencil dapat kasi the property of pencil footing is to be erased, no? Once na magdadagdag tayo at ipa-finalize na lang natin yon after ng closing entries natin. Okay, so yun yung reason bakit in our previous discussion sa module 3, paulit-ulit kong sinasabi sa inyo na gamitan nyo ng lapis kung pencil footing din yun. Kasi nga, we will be adding it up for the adjusting entries as well as for closing entries. Okay? Sige. So, that's with the journalizing and posting of adjusting entries. So pagkatapos mong ma-journalize and post lahat ng ating adjusting entries, that's actually step number 7, no? Dun sa sequence. Now, let's proceed with step number 8, which is journalizing and posting closing entries. Okay? Pero what will happen right now, first, no, I will just introduce to you what closing entries are, and then later we will be discussing ano-ano po yung mga sequence ng closing entries natin. Okay, so what are closing entries? Okay, so kung ang adjusting entry is used to adjust or to update the balance, ang closing entries are series of entries which are required as well at the end of accounting period. So dalawang entries ang ina-expect natin at the end of the period, yung adjusting at saka itong closing. No? And the purpose of closing entries are to bring the balances of the temporary accounts to zero. So kaya nga siya from the word itself, closing, no, to zero out. Okay, yung temporary accounts. So ano-ano po yung temporary accounts? Later we will mention that. Okay, and what's the purpose of zeroing out the temporary accounts? It is because we want to get them ready, yung mga accounts na yon, to receive data for the next accounting period. Okay, so nire-ready natin sila. So pag siniro kasi natin, the following period ulit, di ba? Kaya nga siya may for the year ended, for the month ended kanina in the financial statements because again, they are just covering a certain accounting period. At pagtapos na yon, dapat mawala na sila and then it will be replaced by other transactions that will happen on the next accounting period as well. So ayun na, yun yung purpose ng closing entry, to zero out the temporary accounts so that we could be able to get ready in receiving the data, no, in the next accounting period. So ano-ano po ba yung temporary accounts which will be subjected to closing entries? So we have the income accounts or revenue accounts, mga expenses, as well as drawing accounts. So yung tatlo lang. Hindi po kasama yung assets, liabilities, and capital sa closing entry. Ha? Kasi they are, kumbaga, cumulative or running balances. Kaya nga kanina, di ba, in the financial statement, as of yung sinabi natin doon. Okay, kasi nga they are cumulative. Itong mga temporary accounts na to, they are only being used, no, for a certain period of time. Okay? Then the closing process will be using yung tinatawag natin na clearing account. Mamaya makikita nyo ito, which is called income summary. So clearing account lang siya. So meaning padaan ng account lang po siya at the end of the period, no, mazi-zero out din po itong income summary. So aside from income, expense, and drawing na isi-zero, dapat at the end of the period, income summary as well will be zero out. Okay? So in this closing entry process, no, we will have 4 set of closing entries kung kompleto lahat ito at present sa isang company at the end of the accounting period. Pero pwede rin pong tawag dito, hindi kompleto lahat. I will mention to you later kung alin yung possible na hindi magkaroon ng closing entry. Okay? Kasi baka wala na siyang laman or wala namang ganong naganap na transaction during the period. So let's start, no? So I will still be using the series natin of Butter Legal Services, no? But by this time, ang kailangan na lang natin are the information in the income statement kasi halos nandito po lahat ng i-close natin na accounts. Okay, so the closing process start with, ayan, closing the income or revenue accounts. So nabanggit natin kanina that the income account is a temporary account and what we will be doing is your revenue account or income account will be transferred to the income summary account. So yun yung clearing account kanina by simply debiting the revenue. So ano bang normal balance ng revenue or income class? Hindi ba ang normal balance niyan ay credit? So kung credit yung normal balance niya, so just like this 390,000, this is actually a credit 390,000 because it's an income account. So para ma-zero out siya, kailangan natin kontrahin yung usual normal balance niya. So it will be debited. Kaya mamaya in the closing entry for income or revenue, it will be debiting the revenue account and then we will be crediting the income summary account. Okay? So to show you yung closing entry para sa Butter Legal Services, so ito po yung closing entry natin. This is again the usual journalizing lang ng transaction in the journal. Pero since this is a closing entry, sa journal nyo po ulit, no, lagyan nyo po ng closing entry. Kanina sa adjusting entry, may word na adjusting entry. So ngayon naman po sa closing entry, ayan, closing entries naman po. Again, this is just to denote that the succeeding entries are related to closing entries po natin. Okay, so wag nyo kakalimutan yan sa gitna. Now, in this case, no, since we have consulting revenues 390,000, so again, dated at the end of the month, December 31, i-debit po natin, gaya ng sabi kanina, yung consulting revenue, 390,000 to zero out the consulting revenues, and then i-credit natin siya sa 390,000. So actually, after mong ma-journalize yan, diretso ka na sa posting. At pagka-post mo niyan, ibig sabihin yung inyo pong consulting revenue account is already zero or na-close na po natin. Pero mamaya na po ako magdi-discuss kung paano siya properly i-post sa ledger pag natapos ko na po lahat yung mga closing entries. Okay? So ayan, kaya wala pang PR na nakalagay kasi hindi pa siya posted. Okay, pero ayan, ito po yung itsura ng ating closing entry of the income or revenue account. Don't forget the description to close the revenue account. Okay? Sir, paano kung marami tayong income account? Eh di ganun din, no? I-debit mo lang sila lahat. Okay, kasi halimbawa kanina in the financial statement meron tayong income, sorry, hindi pala kanina. In the other video lecture, no, meron pa tayong interest income. So kung may interest income ka, edi i-debit mo rin po 'yon basta kailangan lahat ng income account ay ma-zero natin. I-debit mo silang lahat and then i-credit mo yung total sa income summary. Okay? I hope nasusundan po natin. Again, if you do have questions, please let me know. So ayan, mazizero na natin yung income account. So ready na siya para tumanggap ulit sa susunod na accounting period ng kanyang mga income items. Okay, so after closing the revenue or income account, you should also close the expense accounts. So again, expense accounts have a normal balance of what? Debit, 'di ba? Ang normal balance niya. So para ma-zero out siya or ma-close po siya, kailangan mong i-credit yung mga expense accounts natin which you can found in the income statement. So what you're going to do is sabi dito no to transfer it to income summary account as well no by debiting the income summary and then i-credit natin yung lahat ng expense accounts natin. So just like this for Butter Legal Services no debit income summary 269,500 so that's the total expenses and then i-credit mo lahat ng ating expense accounts. So ang ginagawa ko usually dito is kung paano na siya naka-arrange sa income statement, ganun ko na lang siya kokopyahin dito sa closing entry para hindi na kayo malito. Okay, so just like what I did, no, I copied the rent expense, salaries, telephone, utilities, office, depreciation expenses, at saka insurance expense. No? And then pag tinotal, 269,500. So that's to close the expense accounts. And then after that, no, ipopost nyo na rin po siya sa kanilang respective ledgers. Pero dahil hindi pa ito nakapost, no, I just leave blank muna itong ating PR. Okay? So, ganun lang. No? So, madali lang. Parang kukontrahin mo lang yung kanyang normal balance para ma-zero. So ito lang, no, do not forget lang na make sure that your expense accounts are all in the closing entries ha. Baka kasi may malimutan kayong kunin mula sa income statement and it will cause na hindi ma-zero yung balance ng expense account natin. Okay? So I hope that that is clear, no? So medyo madali-dali lang naman siya. Again, the date should be the last day of the month. Sir, pwede po bang yung description ko, computation? Wala akong problema. Okay lang naman po na computation itong description ninyo. Yun nga lang, pag computation kasi class, isipin niyo lahat nitong mga credit amounts na to, ilalagay nyo lahat dun sa description. Medyo matrabaho. No? Maraming lines or rows na magagamit. Kaya words na lang. Okay, para mas madali. Alright? So that's for the second closing entry. Ano nga ulit yung first closing entry? Correct? Close the income account. After the income account, expense accounts. So after you have closed the two, no, na zero niyo na sila, ang next step naman po, as we have mentioned it in our module, is to close the income summary account. So class, gaya ng binanggit kanina, no, income summary account is just a clearing account. So padaan ng account lang siya. Hindi talaga siya permanent account. Okay? It is just a temporary account as well. So i-zero out natin ito. Okay? Kailangan ma-zero nyo siya kasi clearing account nga yan. And the balance of this income summary will be transferred to the capital. Okay? Ta-transfer natin siya sa capital. This is actually no, yung binabanggit ko in module 2 na about sa income and expense be transferred to capital or affecting the capital. And also in our previous video lecture in the preparation of financial statement, this will also explain why the net income, kung naalala ninyo yung video lecture, the net income or net loss will be part of the statement of changes in equity. Diba? Pag net income naka-add sa changes in equity, pag net loss naka-minus. Dahil no, itong closing entry na to would be another explanation of that process. So bakit ba siya ina-add or mina-minus sa capital statement natin? Okay? So I gave here two scenarios, pero for Butter Legal Services kasi may net income tayo, 'di ba? So dito po no, a credit balance in the income summary account. Ito pakisulat po ito no. This credit balance in income summary account actually reflects a net income. Okay, 'di ba sa Butter Legal Services natin, kung sinundan niyo yung series nitong discussion ko, we have a net income actually. And kaya nagkaroon ng net income kasi yung ating income or revenue account is greater than expense account. So may credit balance. Sir, bakit credit balance yung income summary? Kasi ganito yung nangyari. Ang T account ng income summary class, 'di ba, kung babalikan natin yung first entry kanina ng closing, debit consulting revenue, credit, income summary. So magkano po yun? 390,000. So na-post sa credit ng income summary yung closing entry ng revenue account. Then yung sinundan na entry nitong nakapresent ngayon sa slide, which is the closing entry for expense account. We close all the expense account tapos nag-debit tayo sa income summary. Ang income summary natin kanina is having 269,500. Okay. So pag pinag-minus mo yon, ano yung mas malaking side? Credit, di ba? So actually the credit amount na yon is 120,500. So that credit balance is actually representing the net income. So pwede niyong balikan yung income statement sa previous slide or dun sa video lecture ng income statement. Ayan, parehas din po yan na 120,500. So ang gagawin natin no, to close that credit balance income summary is to debit it again. Okay, so this is the third closing entry. If you have net income, you will be debiting income summary. Okay, 120,500 para pag pinost mo, mazizero na rin yung income summary. And then we transfer it to capital. So credit capital, 120,500. Okay, so that simply explains to us why your net income, which is under the income summary here, is transferred to your capital. Because again, the income and expense items will ultimately at the end of the day be part of your changes in equity or capital statement. Okay? So I hope na clear po. So pag na-post ito, zero na yung income summary. Sir, mazizero rin ba yung capital? Hindi naman. Kasi actually madadagdagan pa nga yung capital natin. Okay? Kasi nag-credit tayo to capital if you have an income net income in the income statement. Okay? Sir, paano po, no? Just in case, paano kung may net loss? Even though in the series of discussions natin for Butter Legal Services, walang net loss, let me just show you, no? Just in case na may debit balance sa income summary, which is represented or representing a net loss, okay, kino-close naman po yun sa capital natin by debiting the capital and crediting the income summary. That also explains why the net loss is deducted from the computation of the statement of changes in equity. Balikan ninyo yung video lecture natin ng capital statement. Diba nakadeduct pag may net loss? Okay, so ito po, example lang to ha. So debit example capital, 69,500 and credit income summary, 69,500. So kaya nagkaganon, bakit nag-debit ng capital? Kasi itong kanyang revenue ay 200,000 lang or income. Pero ang kanyang expenses ay 269,500. So mas malaki yung expenses kesa sa revenue or income, kaya meron tayong net loss which will be closed in the capital by debiting the capital. Okay? So may encounter nyo lang po itong entry na to again pag meron kayong net loss. Pag net income, ito pong unang entry. Hindi pwedeng parehas sana mag-a-appear. Wag niyong dalawahin. Isa lang dyan. Okay? Either if there is a net income na nakita niyo sa worksheet, saan pa nakitang net income, income statement, no? Ayan. Saka nyo po siya i-close by crediting the capital. Pero pag net loss, i-debit natin yung capital. Okay? So that's actually our third closing entry, okay, to close the income summary account. Okay. So after yung na-zero na natin yung income account, expense account, income summary, ang last na lang po ay to close the drawing account. So ito po actually, mangyayari lang na mag-close tayo ng drawing account if you have a withdrawal or drawing, di ba? Pwede kasing mawala na itong entry na to if wala naman pong withdrawal or drawing during the accounting period. Okay? Or as in zero yung drawing account ninyo. Okay, so just in case na meron, kagaya nung sa Butter Legal Services, what will happen is we will be transferred the drawing account to the capital account by simply debiting the capital and crediting the drawing account. Actually, this closing entry as well gave us the idea, no, bakit ang drawing, pag tayo po ay nagko-compute ng statement of changes in equity, palaging nakadidak sa capital. Withdrawal decreases the capital because the withdrawal or drawing account is being close to our capital. So, kung babalikan po natin dun sa Butter Legal Services, JK Drawing have a 45,000. Okay? So, ang gagawin natin, ibabawas natin yun sa capital by debiting it in the capital, 45,000, and credit JK Drawing 45,000. So that's to close the drawing account to our capital. Again, the date is the end of the month, and after you have posted it, pag pinost mo na, then mazizero na po yung drawing account. At the same time, yung effect ng drawing is nasa capital na po natin. Okay, so I hope that that is clear. So again, those are the 4 closing entries. Close the income account, no? So zero my income account by debiting it. Expense account will be zeroed out by crediting it. And then yung ating net income or net loss, depende kung ano yung nag-appear, no? It will be transferred, or income summary will be close to the capital. And then itong last would be closing your drawing account to the capital. Okay? So, pag natapos mong gawin itong 4 na to, okay, if present naman lahat, then zero na yung inyong mga nominal accounts. So, they are now ready to accommodate the transactions of the next accounting period. Okay? So, as I end dito sa closing entry, no, let me show you how it should be posted. Okay, so it's just the usual posting sa ledger such that, no, meron lang magbabago sa ledger, may idadagdag lang din tayo kagaya sa adjusting kanina. So let's say for example, itong consulting revenue, no, hanapin yung consulting revenue na ledger. So ang mangyayari po, no, of course kung mapapansin niyo yan dun sa ledger ng consulting revenue, example lang to ha, nilagyan ko lang po ng mga transactions na nangyari during the month. They are all in the credit kasi revenue account yan. The total is 390,000. Pero pag close, dinebit po natin 390,000. So dun sa debit part nitong ledger, no, month, year at saka exact date, ito lang din yung nagbago, no. Maglalagay tayo ng word na closing just to denote na closing. Kanina sa adjusting nilagay natin para ma-denote na adjusting. Ito closing, and then yung page number, tapos yung amount na dinebit natin. So at the end of the day, pag pinag-compare mo na ulit yung debit at saka credit sa ledger, parehas na sila. Kaya ang natitirang balance ng consulting revenue, which is a revenue account being zeroed out or closed, is zero. Okay, so ayun lang, huwag kakalimutan na magdagdag ng word na closing doon sa ledger natin. Okay, and then do not forget as well na balikan yung journal para malagyan ng account number. So ganun po yung gagawin ninyo sa lahat ng accounts na naapektuhan, no, journalized ninyo based doon sa kaninang discussion, and then i-post ninyo sa ledger. Basta pag pinost nyo po sa ledger, wag nyo lang kakalimutan na lagyan ng word na closing, and the date should be the last day of the month. Pag natapos nyo pong i-post lahat yon, then okay na po tayo. Tapos na tayo sa closing entries. Okay? So I hope that you have understood yung sinasabi kong process, no? Hindi ko na binubuo kasi we have already discussed naman yung usual na process, no? Yung mga addendum na lang po yung aking dinidiscuss na hindi pa natin natatakel. So ayun. Again, if you do have questions, please let me know on our respective chat boxes. So after nyong ma-post lahat yung closing entries, so we are now ready to prepare step number, based on sa accounting cycle sequence natin, step number 9. And the step number 9 is now related sa post-closing trial balance. Pero wait lang, stop muna tayo. Alam nyo ba na itong post-closing trial balance ay parang ikaw? Charot lang. Isang malaking option. Okay, just like the worksheet, this particular post-closing trial balance is also an optional step. O, dalawa na ha yung optional natin. Ano yung una? Worksheet preparation, option lang yun. No? Pwedeng gawin, pwedeng hindi. Even itong post-closing trial balance, no? Pwedeng gawin, pwedeng hindi. Bakit kaya? Alamin natin. A post-closing trial balance is trial balance din, no? But this was being prepared after the adjusting entry and closing process. Sir, ano pinagkaiba nito doon sa trial balance na pinipare natin after the usual posting? Yun po kasi yung kung naalala ninyo, no, sa worksheet na nga lang meron tayong trial balance tapos may adjusted trial balance pa, 'di ba? So yung unang trial balance na ginawa natin, that's the what we so called unadjusted trial balance. So that's a result of after journalizing and posting the usual transactions. Then no, after adjustments, gumawa ka ng adjusted trial balance kung gumawa ka ng worksheet. Pero ngayon, no, at the end of the accounting process, after nyo mag-post nung ating closing entries, then you can now prepare the post-closing trial balance. Kaya siya post-closing kasi it's already after the closing process. Okay, so it is also sometimes called balance sheet in trial balance form because what will just be appearing in the post-closing trial balance are consists of the assets, liabilities, and capital. That's also explaining us bakit optional step lang siya. Kasi ang makikita dito is yung asset, liabilities, and capital. E saan ba natin makikita itong mga elements na to? Hindi ba nakikita na yan dun sa balance sheet? So parang ang konsepto lang, kaya siya naging optional, it's because may balance sheet na eh. Makikita mo na equal yung asset at saka liabilities and capital. So why prepare pa post-closing trial balance? But again, no, you can prepare this post-closing trial balance. Okay, since it's an optional step naman. Okay? So I hope na clear ha bakit siya naging optional, at the same time bakit siya naging post-closing, because it's being prepared after the closing entries or closing process. Okay. So remember class that temporary accounts such as yung income, expense accounts, yung drawing accounts, income summary accounts will no longer be included. Kaya nga asset, liabilities, and owner's equity lang ang makikita doon. So if ever that you have prepared the post-closing trial balance of Butter Legal Services, no, dun sa ating series ng transactions, ito na lang po yun. So the name of the company, post-closing trial balance, December 31, leave a space. Ito, dahil trial balance ito, pwede na kayong maglagay ng debit and credit. Unlike with the financial statements na kadidiscuss natin, huwag kayong maglalagay ng debit and credit. So again, the purpose of it is to make sure lang, again, that the debit is equal to the credit after the closing process. Kasi kung naalala po ninyo, no, every step in our accounting process should make sure that the debit is equal to the credit, or even the asset should be equal to the liabilities and capital. Okay, that's a basic rule to us. Now, ang gagawin nyo lang is, again, based dun sa nasa balance sheet, no, assets po muna. Pero wag niyo kakalimutan yung accumulated depreciation na naka-minus yun. Ang normal balance niya ay credit. Ayan, kaya naka-credit po sila. And then after that, liabilities, and then capital. So yun lang talaga ang makikita ninyo. And the total of your post-closing trial balance is 298,500 for Butter Legal Services. So sometimes this is used, no, to start the next process pag nag-open ka ng Begbal, 'di ba? Kung naalala ninyo sa modules 3, meron tayong discussion doon ng isang activity na may Begbal, binigay yung trial balance. So ito 'yon, post-closing trial balance, at ginamit natin 'yon to prepare the Begbal sa ledger. Pero again, no, hindi naman siya required since the same information can be found in the balance sheet of the prepared financial statements. Okay? So I hope that that is clear ha. So again, ang role ng post-closing trial balance is to check the equality of the debits and credits after the adjusting and closing process were being done. And there will be no temporary accounts, assets na lang, liabilities and capital can be found in this post-closing trial balance. Okay? So optional lang po siya. Okay, so ayan no, we're almost done with the accounting process. So kung babalikan po natin no, nandito na tayo sa step number 9. Okay, step number 5 is actually again an optional step. And step number 9 as well is optional steps. Okay. So sir, kung optional steps sila, paano kung ayaw kong gawin? What will happen in the series of the accounting cycle. So ito no, I will end this discussion with showing you paano pag tinanggal ko yung optional steps, ano na lang po yung proper steps. Ito no, pag tinanggal yung 5, pupunta ba tayo agad sa financial statements? Okay, yun ba yung next step after prepare trial balance? Tignan natin. Okay, so ito po yung rearrange na accounting cycle if tatanggalin natin optional step. So after mo mag-journalize sa ledger, step 3 yun, prepare the trial balance. Ito yung hanging question kanina. No? Ang next step ba, after mag-prepare ng trial balance, ay gumawa na ng financial statement? Kung walang worksheet, the answer is no. Bakit? Kasi again, worksheet is used to facilitate the preparation of financial statement. So mapapabilis niya yung paggawa ng financial statement. Pero pag hindi natin siya ginamit, dadaan ka muna sa adjusting entries. So magjo-journalize and post ka muna ng adjusting entries kung hindi ka gumawa ng worksheet. And then after mo nun, saka ka lang makakagawa ng financial statement. So yun yung na-rearrange sa accounting cycle if we haven't used the worksheet. No? Mag-a-adjusting ka muna, journalize and post sa ledger, and then after mo nun, magpe-pencil foot ka, tapos hanapin mo yung mga amounts na gagamitin sa financial statements. And then after the financial statements were prepared, saka ka lang gagawa ng closing entries. Okay? Closing entries. Okay, so after nun, kailangan bang gumawa ng post-closing trial balance? Again, required lang yon, so tinanggal ko siya dito. So after ninyong mag-closing entries, sir, di ba meron pang reversing entries? Actually, pagdating ng next video lecture, doon ninyo malalaman na reversing entries are as well considered as optional steps or optional step. Okay, so tatlo na yung optional natin. Yung worksheet, yung post-closing trial balance, at saka yung reversing entry which will be discussed in the next video lecture. Pero again, for the meantime now, we will be ending this rearrange accounting cycle with the closing entries. And after that, sa next accounting period, babalik ka na ulit sa step 1 and it becomes an accounting cycle. Parang water cycle lang, no? It goes on and on and on. Okay, so again, I'll be seeing you on our next video lecture, which is the last about the reversing entries. Okay, so that you will know paano kung gagawa tayo ng reversing entries. But again, as I mentioned a while ago, that is also an optional step. Okay, so ayan, no? Pero in our class, I will ask you to prepare worksheets so that you will know how to prepare it, even though it's optional, no? Para at least maging familiarize kayo doon. At the same time, you will know as well how to work with the worksheet. Pagdating nyo ng college, you might be using that as well, no, once pina-prepare kayo ng worksheet. Okay, so with that, no, I'm ending this discussion and I'll see you on our next video lecture for reversing entries. Okay, so again, if you do have questions, just please let me know on our respective chat boxes, or you can comment or leave your comments on this video lecture. Okay, with that, no, stay safe everyone. Have a great day. Kamsahamnida, kapon ka, no, sayonara. Have a great day. Domo arigato gozaimasu. Stay safe. Bye-bye and God bless.